I also want to, before I take questions, make a few remarks about the energy legislation. We have come a long way in assisting all parties in getting to yes. And I continue to work to bring comprehensive, clean, equitable, and ethical energy reform to the state of Illinois. That, and nothing less, is what the people of this state deserve. The proposed climate bill, worked on by all parties, preserves for decades jobs that already exist and creates new clean energy jobs too. Most importantly, it does so while protecting consumers and fighting climate change. But let me make myself perfectly clear. Our long-term goal is to create meaningful climate change policy that makes Illinois a leader in protecting our people, the environment, and the clean energy industry that we can grow. I will not sign a bill that does not match the gravity of this moment. That means that a bill claiming to contain meaningful decarbonization measures, but does not pass muster on the details and does not move us toward a clean energy economy is not a real climate bill. The bill I put forward is about the health and the well-being of our communities, an immeasurably precious resource as reinforced by the events of the last year. We can decarbonize while creating and maintaining good-paying union jobs. That's why I held working group sessions to put all the multiple clean energy proposals on the table for negotiations. My door remains open to all parties willing to find reasonable compromise that secures Illinois' clean energy leadership. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions from members of the media. Mark.
Sure. I think Representative Ford highlighted the bipartisan nature of compromise on this Juneteenth, but if you zoom out to the national view, I think 19 states have voted to ban or restrict some sort of critical race theory teaching at the school level. Why do you think that's happening at this moment, and what do you make of that apparent tension on this issue?
That is not a tension with the recognition of Juneteenth. I mean, honestly, the right wing has decided that they're going to grab onto anything that they can use a few words, put it together, and make it sound like it's an attack on white people. Then they're going to go make it an issue. That is not something that we believe in here in Illinois. What the right wing is doing around the country is not something that we're going to do here in Illinois. Yes, sir.
Sir, as LaShawn Ford,
I really love your hat. Can I just say that?
Your hair is being portrayed, sir. We have the same issue.
Yes, sir.
As Representative Ford rightfully noted, I think that Juneteenth is an American holiday. Not just a
Yes, it is.
I counted 25 folks over here who are elected officials. I counted just 3 folks who were white. And I look at the audience here. I don't see, with the exception of Ward 2 Alderman Sean Gregory, any representative from the city of Springfield. I don't see a lot of white folks, frankly, over here, including some sponsors of the bill. What does that say, if anything? Were they invited? Did they know about this? And if they did know about this, where are they?
Well, all I can say is that we sent out invitations to a whole bunch of folks. And I can also say that there are people all across the state, white, black, brown, who care deeply about the passage of this Juneteenth bill and the signing of it. I can't speak to why certain people aren't here. What I can tell you is that the representatives of Springfield who are here today, the folks who actually represent Springfield, Sue Scherer, Senator Doris Turner, right, who represent this area where the Springfield race riots took place and the creation of the NAACP was galvanized.
Jim Butler.
I'm not going to speak to why somebody is, listen, as you know, there is business being done over at the Capitol. I can't speak to why somebody's not here. All I can tell you is that white, black, brown, people care deeply about the fact that we are recognizing in a holiday for the state of Illinois the emancipation of so many of our brothers and sisters who are Americans and who are deeply American.
You signed an mandatory veto of the budget. Why didn't you mix the legislative pay raises or the partisan $1 billion in support?
This was first of all, a Scrivener's error that we're correcting at the request of the General Assembly. So that's what that mandatory veto was about. Renegotiating, changing substantive portions of the bill was not something that anyone was planning to do. This is just fixing the effective dates.
On the energy bill, if you could, for those who just don't understand why 2035 is a date that needs to be met, is there, like, do you have a crystal ball or something that's indicating a certain thing that's going to happen?
Deadlines are important. Let me start with that. Let me also say that those of us who care deeply about fighting climate change have been waiting an awful long time to finally get a piece of legislation that would lead to ultimately a cleaner environment for everybody. I can tell you that, as you know, this is a gradual move. There are those who stand up in front of a podium and say, you're nixing jobs. Well, as you know from the legislation that's been put forward, this is a gradual move. You said 2035. What year is it now? 2021. And it's not even 2035 as a deadline when you talk about coal, for example, right? There's the opportunity for there to be, significant carbon capture. And if that goal is met, and the industry has said that it could meet that goal, that will then allow beyond 2035 the operation of those coal plants for another 10 years. So we're talking about 24 years from now. So.
Well, Governor, I seem to catch Senate President Harmon off a little bit. The idea of extending the 2035 timeframe, is that just a product of the negotiations that were ongoing behind the scenes?
Well, I've been clear about what my priorities are, and obviously we need to get a bill passed. That's the most important thing, but it's got to live up to the principles that I set out a year ago for climate change legislation. I think we're very, very close. I hope that we're going to be able to get there. Remember, this is not I know there was mention yesterday of there are two interested parties, unions and environmentalists. This was not that. This was an 8-sided negotiation. Very, very difficult to bring people together. We've been working, my team has, with all of those folks for more than a year to try to get this legislation put together. We're very close. We were very close on May 31st. When new things get introduced along the way, it makes it harder. New problems that introduced along the way by folks that hadn't mentioned those before or had become comfortable with them during the negotiations before. But we're very close. I think we're going to get there.
I know
Mike.
There are negotiations going on, and everybody's saying we're very close right now.
Mhm.
But I have viewers that work at the environment plant that are just waiting for someone to give them an answer about Exelon and it will have their jobs. Do you think it was the right thing to make this a big deal and keep it as that? Or the nuclear portion was pretty much a done deal? Could that pass by itself to make sure those employees can't play?
It's not a done deal by itself. I mean, if you want true action on climate, you have to look at this as a holistic endeavor. This is not just about nuclear. Nuclear is important because it is clean energy, but we also need renewable energy. If you want to get to the goal of being fossil-free by 2050, which is so many of us really, really believe in that. And by the way, 2050, think about how far away that is from now. But we need to make progress. You have to start today. We have to start today to work toward that future. And that's what I've been working toward. This legislation is very close. And you keep hearing from people how close it is. Obviously, you can have minor things that could blow something up. But at the moment, it feels like, we're so close you can taste it.
Are we looking at a few weeks or a few months?
I couldn't tell you.
Governor, we're currently in a city that's paying off bonds for
Yeah.
loan in the 2040s. There are other communities around the state that have had similar situations. What would you say to those communities that are going to be, say they're going to be financially devastated if their coal-fired plants are Is there room to compromise on that?
Well, that's why there is compromise in the bill that allows the 2035 date to move as the technology improves. And you know how fast technology is moving today. It's 2021. We're talking about 2034, at which point you would make the test of whether you can do carbon capture up to 90%, and then you can move past 2035. So I think there's an awful lot of room here for us to get what everybody wants, which is keep the jobs, make sure you pay off the bonds that the various municipalities owe, and get the kind of climate change action that we need.
Governor, that's not that coal is going to settle, and now the new sticking point is natural gas. You know, why do you think that these things were not aired publicly in May, in April? And, you know, do you think that by labor getting behind, you know, these things now that they have an opening, now that we're gone past the May 31st, do you think that that's negotiating in good faith if, you know, they sought to help, you know, the progress on May 31st, and, you know, now they've given themselves openings to all summer?
Look, every day that goes by, someone goes home and thinks to themselves, well, there's something I'd really like. Maybe I could put that back on the table and see if I can get that. So, you know, the sooner we can get to a conclusion here, the better. But this is something I agree in the implication of your question, that, you know, when new things get thrown on the table, it makes it difficult to finally get to a conclusion. So we're close. Again, you know, we'd like to get over the line here and get to what I would like, which is preserve the jobs, create the jobs of the future too. And importantly, and this is really the most important thing, focus on our people, our climate, our environment.
But isn't it also your job and the job of, you know, lead negotiators to have predicted, you know, these eventual fights that would be going out and, like, not, you know, kind of address it now?
To be clear, these things have all been aired over the course of a year of many, many, many working group sessions.
So is that an admission that you're just getting bold?
No, it's that's your words. Here's what's happening. People are bringing up issues that they had settled on months ago to try to bring them up now at the last minute, hoping that everybody will say, well, that's okay, we'll just let that one go so that we can get a bill. That's not how it works. We set out principles here. We're going to get those principles hard and fast in this bill, and that is what we need. I mean, honestly, who here does not believe that we are headed for a future, that we should be headed for a future in Illinois of leadership in clean energy? We should have an industry, a whole industry of electric vehicles in Illinois based upon the clean energy principles that we set out. We should have a cleaner environment as a result of what we do in this bill. Those are enormously important principles to have in the bill, and they are in the bill. Everything that gets brought up that takes us back from decarbonization is a backward movement. I'm not going to let it happen.
If the Senate is the sticking point, would you like to see the House pass a bill today? Or are you going to call a special session? How do you create leverage here?
No, I think what we're going to do is the House has its own business today to get through. I think that there are these last items that need to get agreed upon. That's going to hopefully happen over the next few weeks or month. And then we'll need to bring the House and the Senate back in order to pass the bill finally. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.